She never believed in office romances. They were messy, complicated, and almost always ended with one person crying in the bathroom stall while pretending to fix their mascara. That's why, when Mia Thompson walked into Apex Advertising on her first day 3 years ago, she swore she'd keep her head down, her heart locked, and her feelings far away from anyone wearing a tie. Especially him. Alexander Knight wasn't just her boss. He was the storm that walked into every room before he did. Sharp jaw, darker eyes, and a voice that could make a creative team rewrite an entire campaign at 2 a.m. without complaining. He was brilliant. He was ruthless. And he drove her absolutely insane. Thompson, this concept is safe. Safe is forgettable. I don't hire forgettable. That was his favorite line. He'd say it while leaning over her desk, too close, cologne sharp like winter air, pointing at her mood boards like they'd personally offended him. She'd bite the inside of her cheek, nod, and redo everything. Again. And again. She hated how much she cared what he thought. She hated that she stayed late just to get his, not terrible, instead of his usual silence. She hated that sometimes, when he finally approved something, he'd look at her for 1 second longer than necessary. Like he saw her. Really saw her. And then he'd turn away. Cold again. Everyone in the office whispered about him. The Ice King. The man who fired people without blinking. The one who hadn't dated anyone in years, not since the incident, they said, lowering their voices. Mia didn't care about rumors. She cared about surviving him. But then came the night that broke everything open. It was a Thursday in November. Rain hammered the windows of the 27th floor. The entire team had gone home hours ago after Alex killed their third pitch for the Vitaline skincare campaign, their biggest client. Everyone left except her. She stayed. Because she had an idea. A crazy, risky, beautiful idea that she knew he'd hate. She marched into his office at 11:47 p.m. with nothing but a single photograph and a heartbeat in her throat. He was at his desk, sleeves rolled up, tie gone, hair messy from running his hands through it too many times. He didn't look up. "It's late, Thompson. I know what Vitaline needs." He sighed. "We're not doing another floral, soft focus, love yourself ad. They've seen it all." "No," she said, stepping closer. "We're not." She slid the photograph across his desk. It was a black and white image of a woman in her 70s. No makeup. Deep wrinkles. Eyes fierce and alive. She was laughing so hard tears ran down her cheeks. Mia's voice shook a little. "This is my grandmother. She's 82. She never wore foundation a day in her life. She says wrinkles are just proof you showed up for everything. Vitaline isn't selling perfection. They're selling permission. Permission to age. To laugh. To live out loud. We don't hide the lines. We celebrate them." Silence. He stared at the photo for so long she thought he'd throw it back at her. Then he looked up. And for the first time in 3 years, Alexander Knight had no words. His eyes were red. Not from crying, she didn't think. But something had cracked open in them. "She looks like my mother," he said, so quietly she almost missed it. Mia froze. He never talked about his family. Ever. He stood slowly, walked to the window, hands in his pockets. The city lights blurred in the rain. "She died when I was 12, he said to the glass. "Cancer. She was beautiful. Even at the end. Even when she had nothing left. I used to sit by her bed and trace her laugh lines with my finger. She'd say, 'Don't be sad, Alex. These are my happy scars.'" Mia's heart stopped. He turned around. "You're right. This is it. This is the campaign. She exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for years. But then he kept talking. "I've been awful to you." She blinked. "I push you harder than anyone else," he said, stepping closer. "Because you're the only one who ever pushes back. The only one who sees through the bullshit. The only one who makes me feel something." Her pulse was loud in her ears. "I tell myself it's because I want you to be better," he whispered. "But the truth is, I'm terrified of how much I need you to stay." The room felt too small. He was close now. So close. "Alex," she started, but her voice cracked. And then, without warning, without permission, without another second of hesitation, he kissed her. Not soft. Not gentle. Like a man who'd been drowning for years and finally found air. His hands cupped her face, desperate, shaking. She kissed him back like she'd been waiting her whole life to do it. Rain pounded harder outside. Papers scattered from the desk as he lifted her onto it. She wrapped her legs around him, fingers in his hair, heart exploding. Everything they'd never said poured into that kiss. Years of tension. Of late nights. Of pretending they didn't notice each other breathing. When they finally pulled apart, foreheads touching, both of them trembling, he whispered against her lips. "I'm in love with you, Mia. I have been for so long I don't remember what it feels like not to be." Tears filled her eyes. "But I'm your boss," he said, voice breaking. "And I've treated you like—" "I don't care," she cut in. "I love you too. I love the way you fight for things. I love how you see people. Even when you pretend you don't." He laughed, a broken, relieved sound, and kissed her again. For one perfect moment, the world made sense. Then the door flew open. "Mia? Mr. Knight? HR is doing a surprise audit tomorrow and—" Sarah from accounting stood frozen in the doorway, eyes wide, phone in hand. They sprang apart. Sarah's mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. "Oh my God," she whispered. And before either of them could speak, she turned and ran. Cliffhanger 1. The next morning, the entire office knew. By 9 a.m., Mia was called into a meeting with HR and the CEO. Fraternization policy. Conflict of interest. Immediate suspension pending investigation. Alex was already in the boardroom, face stone, refusing to look at her. They wanted one of them gone. And everyone assumed it would be her. She walked out of that meeting numb. Tears burning but not falling. She went to the rooftop. The same place she used to hide during lunch when he'd ripped apart her work and she needed to scream without being heard. She didn't expect him to follow. "Mia." She turned. He looked wrecked. Tie crooked. Eyes bloodshot. "They're making me choose," he said. "Step down as creative director, or terminate you." Her stomach dropped. "I won't let them fire you," he said fiercely. "I'll resign. Today." "No," she said, stepping forward. "You built this department. This company. You don't get to lose everything because of me." "I don't care about the job," he said. "I care about you. And I care about us," she said. "But not like this. Not if it destroys you." He stared at her like she was slipping through his fingers. "Then what do we do?" he asked, voice raw. She took a deep breath. "We fight. Together. But not for each other. For both of us." Cliffhanger 2. That night, they didn't go home. They stayed in the office, side by side, building something no one expected. A presentation. Not for Vitaline. For the board. Mia pulled every favor, every contact, every late-night conversation she'd ever had with female executives across the industry. Alex called in debts older than she was. They worked for 72 hours straight. By Monday morning, they walked into the boardroom hand in hand, not hiding anymore. Alex spoke first. "You want to fire one of us? Fine. But you'll lose both. And not just us." He clicked the remote. The screen lit up with resignation letters. 23 of them. Every senior creative. Every art director. Half the copywriters. All addressed to the board. All dated that morning. Then Mia stepped forward. "And you'll lose Vitaline," she said calmly. "Because they've already signed off on the new campaign. The one built around real women. Real stories. And they want me to lead it. Personally. Or they walk." The room was silent. The CEO's face turned purple. Alex squeezed her hand. "One more thing," he said. "I'm stepping down as creative director. Effective immediately. But I'm not leaving the company. I'm starting a new division. One focused on authenticity. On truth. And Mia Thompson will run creative under me as partner. Equal partner. Or we all go." He looked at the board. "Your move." The silence stretched so long Mia thought her heart would give out. Then the CEO sighed. "Welcome to the new era of Apex," he said. Just like that. It wasn't perfect. There were rules. Distance at work. Separate offices. No PDA in meetings, though they broke that one sometimes. But they made it. 6 months later, the Vitaline campaign launched. Billboards of women aged 19 to 91. Laugh lines. Stretch marks. Freckles. Scars. The tagline? "Beautiful isn't flawless. It's fearless." It broke the internet. It won every award. And on the night they won the Grand Prix at Cannes, Alex pulled Mia onto the balcony overlooking the Mediterranean. He got down on one knee. "I lost everything once," he said. "My mom. My softness. My ability to feel anything without fear. You gave it all back to me. Marry me, Mia. Let me spend the rest of my life proving I'm worthy of the woman who saved me." She cried so hard she could barely get the word out. Yes. They kissed under a sky full of stars while their team cheered inside. And somewhere, in the distance, an old woman with deep laugh lines smiled at a billboard of herself and whispered, "That's my granddaughter. She did good." Love isn't safe. It's not convenient. It doesn't follow policy. Sometimes it shows up in the middle of a storm, wearing a scowl and a perfectly tailored suit, telling you your work is forgettable. And sometimes, if you're brave enough to fight for it, love changes everything. So if you're watching this and you're scared to feel something real, don't be. The person who drives you crazy might just be the one who sets you free. If this story moved you, hit that like button. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe, because every week we're bringing you love stories that remind you, you're never too broken, too scared, or too late for the kind of love that changes everything. See you in the next one.